Hey gang, all right, welcome to the SQ1 live prevention Q&A, and tonight we are on time. We've got the technical difficulties worked out from last night, and I'm on my laptop. The weird thing is I cannot go live on my desktop. I can go live on my phone, I can go live on my laptop. For some reason, the desktop doesn't work. But anyway, here we are, and I'm ready to do it, ready to answer your questions. Again, I'm so glad you've tuned in to watch the SQ1 program. This week, the last 10 days, the free screening. I'm sure you have lots of questions, but I hope that program has opened your eyes to the possibility that your body can heal if you're willing to change your life, and that no one will take better care of you than you if you decide to do it. And I'm here as a coach to help you, to encourage you, to give you support and resources and hopefully inspiration and motivation to get you on the healing path and to help you stay on it. So like I said, good to be with you, and the questions are coming in, so I'm going to start focusing on these. Tonight, really want to focus more on prevention, but if you have cancer, please post your cancer-related questions. I'll do my best to answer them. If I don't feel like I have a great answer, I might skip your question. Please don't get your feelings hurt. It just means, I'm just not sure. I just don't feel like I have a good answer for you. So, okay. Let's get into these questions. Okay, first question is from Tanisha. What are good supplements for breast cancer triple negative? Well, I don't know. One thing I can't do is tell you specific treatments for specific types of cancer. But what I can tell you, generally speaking, is it's not about the supplements. Supplements are, I like to say, supplemental. The main thing that is so important, the main principles of holistic health and healing start with what you put in your mouth, and that's food. So in the SQ1 program, in modules 3 and 4, it's all about the anti-cancer diet, eating a diet that is exclusively plant-based and all raw with fresh juices. So fresh juices, fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, legumes, herbs and spices. These are the foods you want to put in your body. So there's no supplement that's going to cure breast cancer. The best thing that supplements can do is add a little bit of extra firepower to stuff that you're not already eating. Now, there are certain supplements that prey on people with this pitch. And the pitch is, well, just in case your diet isn't perfect, this supplement will fill in the gaps. That's wrong. Okay, that's not why you take supplements. You take supplements because these are things you cannot get in your diet, right? So if you can get it in your diet, you don't need to supplement with it. And so what am I talking about? Well, things like resveratrol. Like when you supplement with resveratrol, you're getting a much larger amount than you would drinking red wine, which don't do that, by the way, if you're trying to heal cancer. Taking curcumin. Yes, you get curcumin if you consume the spice turmeric, but curcumin supplementation is highly concentrated. It's a known anti-cancer compound, and you get a lot more of it when you take a curcumin supplement versus just trying to eat, pounds of turmeric powder. Okay, just a couple examples there, but you really want to focus on the food, right? Food is medicine, and if you can't afford any supplements, you can still get well just with food. Now, I do have a module in SQ1 dedicated to anti-cancer supplements that you can add to your routine, but I just want to stress again, the diet is the most important thing. The supplements are extra, right? They're extra. They're not necessary. They may be helpful. Odds that they're harmful are slim to none. And but I've seen a lot of patients over the years. They just think they're going to take a bunch of supplements and get well, and they don't change their diet. That's the bulk of your nutrition. Okay, next question is it possible to heal prostate cancer that has metastasized? Well, people have healed. So yes, the answer is yes. People have healed metastatic stage 4 prostate cancer. You go to chrisbeatcancer.com and type in prostate cancer. You'll see there. You'll find an interview. I know a number of people personally who've healed, and advanced prostate cancer has actually been studied. I talk about this in my book, that people who followed a plant-based diet with exercise and stress reduction, this is a lifestyle program. It's the same advice I give in SQ1, had their PSA numbers go down over time if they stuck to this plant-based diet with exercise and stress reduction. So yes, there is hope. You can heal if you're willing to change your life. But if you keep doing the same things you were doing before cancer, don't expect for anything to change. What are your thoughts on fluoride toothpaste and mouthwash? Well, I don't use fluoride toothpaste or fluoride mouthwash. I haven't used fluoride toothpaste in almost 20 years. Still got all my teeth. And even though the lighting's not good in here, my teeth are pretty bright and white. It just happens to be nighttime right now. But yeah, you know, fluoridated, we don't even drink fluoridated water. I mean, fluoride is an element that can be found in food and in nature, but excess fluoride is toxic to your body. It's bad for your thyroid. It causes lots of problems in the body. It's bad for your brain. So yeah, we avoid fluoride. And I just rotate between a variety of toothpastes that I like. There's one called Believe. That's good. You can Google that, Believe toothpaste. I like Bronner's toothpaste. But yeah, there's a lot of, you know, back in 2004 when I first started, I mean, it was hard to find a fluoride-free toothpaste. Tom's of Maine was like the only one I could find. And I used the Tom's for years. They've since been bought out by some large company and I don't use them anymore. But I'm thankful to Tom's of Maine because they made fluoride-free toothpaste really before anybody else was willing to do it. So yeah, that's what we do. If we do this as a lifestyle and a family, is there anything we need to do differently for our 1 and 3-year-olds, or can they do the Square One diet also? Yeah, I mean, look, the Square One diet is just eating lots of fruits and vegetables, and babies and little kids typically tend to love fruit, and they can be a little picky with the vegetables, but just focus on feeding them vegetables that they like. And what we did with our kids, and I think this is a good strategy, is just constantly introduce vegetables to them. And we don't force feed our kids. We never made our kids eat a whole bowl full of broccoli or whatever, right? But we would require that they have one bite. We call it the thank you bite. They have one bite if they're putting up resistance, right? So, you know, dinner, here's the plate, there's food on it. They're like, I don't want to eat that. And, you know, kids get kind of weird about foods and color and texture. They can just get weird about it. So we'll say, well, you have to have one bite, okay? And they would have one bite, chew it up and swallow it. And then we would say, thank you for trying it. What'd you think? And they could say, I don't like it. And we'll say, okay, well, thanks for trying it. And we don't make them finish, you know, whatever, the broccoli or whatever it is, okay? Sometimes they'll say, oh, I like it. And we'll say, great. And then they'll eat some more. But you keep doing that, right? Even if they say, I don't like it, serve it to them again another day and make them take one bite, ask them what they think. This really does work. And supposedly it takes like, I don't know, 7 or 10 exposures to a food to develop a taste for it. So just keep introducing your kids to vegetables and make them just take one bite, chew it up, thank them for trying it. Don't force feed them like my parents did, where they're gagging. Like I can remember many meals where my parents forced me to finish vegetables. Like, so the vegetable I still cannot do this, but my mom used to make these, like, I think they were French green beans, but they're like slivered green beans and they're cooked with almonds. And when I was a kid, that was just gag city for me. I could not, they were really limp, you know, and just kind of overcooked, and the almonds did not help the flavor. I might like them now, I don't know, but I still actually, I'm kind of feeling a little queasy even thinking about it because they made me gag so bad, and my parents would make me finish them, and I can remember trying to spit them in the napkin and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, don't do that to your kids. Not helpful. Hi, Chris. If we can't buy organic, what can we wash fruits and vegetables with to remove chemical sprays? Well, turns out this has been studied quite a bit. And the best research I've seen, which compared a bunch of different fruit and vegetable washes to see which was the most effective for removing pesticides, turns out the best was soaking in a solution of salt water. So that's 1 part salt to 9 parts water. So just a simple salt water solution. And so that's all you have to do. Use a salt water solution to clean vegetables. And you can even soak them for 10 minutes or whatever if you want to, 10 to 20 minutes. If you want to fill up your tub and put salt water and soak them, it works. It binds to toxins and they wash off. So very easy. Again, you don't have to buy these expensive fruit and vegetable washes. Just get some good old fashioned sodium chloride table salt, or if you want to be a little fancy, you could use sea salt, but I think just cheap table salt will do the trick. What do you think about the carnivore animal-based diet and organ meats about ancestral living? Well, the whole ancestral living idea is just sort of like a farce. It's a marketing ploy, right? It's based on this fantasy, right, that your ancestors were super healthy and they lived a long time, and that's false. Your ancestors had very short lifespans. Okay, so there's just this fantasy idea that you need to eat like a caveman or like a Neanderthal. I don't understand it. Like, why would you want to eat like that? And so, number one, anytime something says ancestral, just tag it in your brain. This is a gimmick. This is a marketing ploy. Like, that's dumb. Okay. The reality is your ancestors, you would not be here if your ancestors did not eat fruits and vegetables, and especially grains. Bread is how your ancestors survived. The amount of bread your ancestors ate would shock you. Okay. So your ancestors for hundreds of years, right, have survived and thrived on plant food and very little animal food, because animal food is scarce and expensive until factory farming came into the picture. So even around the world, they're the longest living people. If you read the book, The Blue Zones, which is a fantastic research project that was sponsored by National Geographic. If you read The Blue Zones, you'll find, and by the way, I've interviewed Dan Buettner, who's the principal researcher behind The Blue Zones. If you go to chrisbeatcancer.com and type in Blue Zones, you can watch my interview with Dan. But what they found was that the longest living people today, with the highest percentages of people living past 100 on Earth now, like, these are real people that we can research. These aren't just like, speculative cavemen, right? These are real living humans in pockets of the world that have exceptionally long lifespans. And they studied what they eat. They studied their social relationships, how much they exercise, how much movement they get, sunshine, fresh air, all these kind of factors that contribute to health and longevity. And on the diet component of it, they're eating about 95% plant-based. So they're not vegetarians necessarily or vegans, but they just eat a lot of plant food, and they very little animal food and very little processed food and junk food. One of those blue zones, there's 5, by the way, on Earth that have been identified, but one of them is in Loma Linda, California. And that's the Seventh-day Adventists. That's sort of like their headquarters. And the Seventh-day Adventists, part of their denomination or their religious beliefs is to be vegetarian. So a large percentage of Seventh-day Adventists are vegetarians, and that plays into their healthy diet. But again, you don't have to be a vegetarian. The other blue zones, not necessarily vegetarian, like Icaria, Greece, Sardinia, Italy, Okinawa, Japan, Nicoya, Costa Rica. Those regions are not vegetarian. They just, again, they don't eat much meat and dairy. So there's no population of people anywhere in the world with long lifespans that eats a carnivore diet. They don't exist. There's no population of people in the world that eats a keto diet with long lifespans or a paleo diet with long lifespans. They do not exist. All of the people eating these diets have only been eating them for a few years. They're not very old, and they're just part of a giant fad. So they're basically meat lovers. They love to eat meat. It's a meat lover's diet. Those are 3 versions of a meat lover's diet, carnivore being the most extreme. And it's not going to end well eating that way. You might feel better in the short term, getting off a standard American diet and a junk food diet. But long term, there's absolutely zero research on humans eating this way. So beware. Oh, and we have great research on eating a diet that's rich in fruits and vegetables. So it's your choice. It's your life, right? But one more thing to say about that. Just the idea of calling a diet a carnivore diet is such nonsense. I mean, there's nothing. I have yet to meet a human that has anything like a carnivore. Like if you even study zoology, like humans aren't carnivores. You can't catch and kill your prey with your teeth and your claws. That's what carnivores do. You're not eating meat bloody right off the carcass along with the organs, bones, and fur. That's what carnivores do, right? So anyone saying they're eating a carnivore diet, well, they're not doing that. They're just eating a meat lover's diet. So the carnivore diet is just an oxymoron. It's an oxymoronic idea. And if you're following anybody promoting this, just unfollow. There's a lot of people out there with eating disorders that want to suck you into their cult of eating disorder. And the carnivores are especially good at that. So I shouldn't call them carnivores because they definitely are not. Okay. Also, carnivores don't eat fruit. So beware of anyone who tells you they're eating a carnivore diet and they eat fruit, because hey, cats, they don't eat fruit. Try it. Okay. What do I think about? Let's see. Sorry, the questions jumped ahead and I've got to scroll back up. Is elderberry syrup safe? Yeah, as far as I know. I don't have any reason not to think it's safe. And there's a lot of research on elderberry helping with immune support for cold and flu symptoms. So yeah, I got no problem with elderberry. What do I think about organic vegan protein powder? I don't take vegan protein powder. And occasionally a company might send me some and like, okay, I'll throw it in a smoothie, but it's not something I think people need. It's a processed food, first of all. You want to stick with whole foods. And if you eat 3 meals a day of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices, you're getting tons of protein. You're getting plenty. You don't need to supplement. And most of the people I find that ask me, what about protein, are overweight. And so my answer to you, I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm just saying you got too much protein, okay? Like you don't need more protein. You've already eaten too much. Like let's get the weight off. So yeah, it's just, I'm a very active person. I've been doing CrossFit for over a decade. I mean, I'm super healthy, fit, strong. I can do stuff in the gym that most people my age cannot do. And I eat a diet that's predominantly plant-based. So if I don't need protein powder, the average person doesn't either, and especially not to heal cancer. Excess protein fuels cancer growth. This is a common theme. Jumping back to the carnivore thing, like another reason you wouldn't want to do it, right? I could talk about that I could take up this whole hour talking about the problems with paleo, keto, carnivore stuff, but that was a quick gloss over. I could really go deep and just pick it apart, but I want to answer as many questions as possible here. But low protein, this is the diet for health and longevity. It's high protein is not. It's low protein. You need carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are so good for you and they taste good and they make you happy and they deliver all these wonderful nutrients to your body, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, antioxidants, anti-cancer nutrients, water, and fiber. You're getting all that from fruits and vegetables. So like, why wouldn't you eat those foods? Anyway, okay. Question from Andrea, any advice for blood cancers? So go to chrisbeatcancer.com and type in leukemia and watch the interviews I've done with people who've healed leukemia. There is not a specific diet for different cancers, right? The optimal anti-cancer diet is one that is predominantly plant-based, predominantly raw, okay? Because raw fruits and vegetables have the most potent anti-cancer nutrients. This is what I talk about in Square One in the program. If you join our program, there's a link to it below the video. Most of you have been watching the free screening. We've sent you emails about it. You can still join for half price actually through Monday because we're doing this free screening promotion. But if you just join the program and just follow the diet, just follow it, just do it. Just do it and give yourself 90 days and then go get your blood work done again and see what happens. I think you will be pleasantly surprised. I can't promise anything, right? I can't make any claims like that, but I'm telling you, I've been alive for 20 years. I've interviewed dozens and dozens of people who've healed all types and stages of cancer. I've met, hundreds more. I've met so many people who've healed cancer, and so many doctors who've helped people heal cancer against the odds with nutrition and an integrative holistic approach. And I'm just telling you, we all did the same thing. So why not do the same things that all of the successful survivors did? The analogy I like to use is, if you're going to climb Mount Everest, right, follow the path that all the other successful climbers took up the mountain, right? Don't try to chart your own path up Everest. You're going to die. Okay. But the good news is, people have been there before you. They've been up and down the mountain. They know how to prepare for it. They know how to train for it. They know how to do it. Okay. And so in that analogy, I'm kind of like your Sherpa, right? Kind of. And so trying to make sure that you are on the right path, right? The safest path, least dangerous path to get up the mountain, to be successful and to heal. Okay. So you will see, if you really dig in on chrisbeatcancer.com, if you watch all the interviews I've done, you will see all these people who've successfully climbed Everest, and you can learn from them and put that into practice in your own life. Question from Jill: can you speak about refined sugar and cancer? I talked about this in the other Q&A, but I'll just touch on it really quick because I know it's a common question. Everybody thinks sugar feeds cancer because cancer tumors light up with glucose on a PET scan. So everybody thinks, oh, sugar feeds cancer. But cancer cells use protein and fat and sugar for fuel. And the big drivers of cancer is not sugar. The big drivers of cancer are protein and fat. Okay. Not sugar. Sugar actually is good for your immune cells. Every cell in your body uses sugar. Now, refined sugar is just empty calories, right? So the one thing you get from refined sugar is pure energy. That's what you get, pure energy from refined sugar. But you don't get anything else. You don't get any vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, or anti-cancer compounds. So when you eat fruit, you get all that stuff, right? When you consume honey, you get a lot of those things. But when you consume white table sugar, you just get energy. So it's good for energy, but it's not good to help supply all these wonderful nutrients that your body needs. So yeah, like, don't use white sugar. Like, if you're going to use a sweetener, use something that has a higher nutritive value than white sugar. I mean, even using something like sucanat or turbinado, which are from the sugar cane, but they're minimally processed. So sucanat is, they take cane juice and they dry it into a powder, and it's called sucanat. Okay. The turbinado, they take the cane juice and they spin it in a turbine and it crystallizes. So it's kind of like brown sugar, but it's more natural. So all of the minerals, vitamins and minerals and trace elements that are in sugar cane, which is a plant, are in turbinado and sucanat. So just even those two are a step up from sugar, white table sugar. But we love to use, we use those things, but we love to use honey. Honey is anti-cancer, antimicrobial, antibacterial, antifungal. I mentioned this in the other Q&A. Honey doesn't go bad. Honey doesn't spoil. It can crystallize, but it does not spoil. It doesn't rot. It doesn't mold. Have you ever noticed that? That's because it has these incredible antibacterial properties. And so honey's amazing. Blackstrap molasses, fantastic, like to use in oatmeal, for example, or baking. Date syrup or date sugar, which is just made from dates. It's not a huge refining process. All of the nutrition in dates is present in date syrup or date sugar, which is just ground up dried dates. So those are just a few, healthy sweetener options. But the main thing is like, let's focus on foods that don't need added sugar, right? Let's focus on foods that don't need added salt. A giant salad doesn't need sugar or salt. A fruit smoothie doesn't need sugar if you're using fresh fruit. Fresh fruit juices or vegetable juices, they don't need sugar, right? The only thing that you might add a little sweetener to is tea, but try to wean yourself off of the sweetened tea, right? Or sweetened coffee. I put blackstrap molasses and date sugar in oatmeal for the nutritive value, because that adds antioxidants and minerals to the oatmeal, but I don't really need it for the sweetening. aspect of it. Maple syrup's also good for that too, because you can sweeten oatmeal with berries, right? Or dried apricots, or raisins, or black currants, or goji berries, or the fresh fruit like blueberries and raspberries and strawberries. So yeah, I mean, it's like let's move away from foods that need these, sugar and salt additives. Question from Teresa. I'm doing the SQ1 program for preventative measures. Is it okay to go out and eat occasionally with my friends and family? Sure, absolutely. And I'm so excited that you're doing SQ1 for prevention. That's like fantastic, right? Cancer and chronic diseases like diabetes, heart disease, autoimmune disease, they're so much easier to prevent than they are to heal. Of course, you can heal, but prevention is so much easier. Then you don't have to deal with all the worry and stress and fear and anxiety and the symptoms of disease that make you feel bad or cause inflammation or worse. So I am so glad that you're, incorporating the SQ1 principles for prevention. But yeah, going out to eat with family occasionally is fine. But what we recommend people in our community that we're really serious about healing and they have cancer is we just say, look, don't eat, eat before you go, right? Just eat before you go. Eat your giant salad, have your fruit smoothie, eat some fresh fruit, whatever. Eat before you go. And that way you're full, you're not hungry. You're not tempted to eat the lasagna and the steak and the pork chops or whatever at the restaurant, right? Because you're full and you're satisfied. You can just go and hang out with your friends and family. Same thing with the potluck or, whatever. You can also bring your own food. It's a little weird to bring your own food to a restaurant, but you can definitely bring your own food to a friend's house if they're having you for dinner and just say, hey, I'm dealing with this cancer thing, or I'm on this weird diet and I'm trying to follow it, just whatever, and just say, it's not your cooking. Like I've decided I'm going to do this dietary experiment and see what happens. And people understand. They're like, oh yeah, no problem. Pack your giant salad in a big Tupperware bin or glass container or whatever, or a bowl, and take it to your friend's house, family member's house, and you just eat that while they're eating whatever. Question from Joni about MCT oil. Yeah, MCT is a weird processed oil. Not a fan. I'm not a fan of MCT oil. I mean, you're not going to really find it in nature. It has to be made in a factory, right? I mean, so not that it doesn't exist in trace elements in nature, but just this pure medium chain triglyceride oil like that. You can't just go squeeze that out of something in nature. Like you squeeze an olive, you get some olive oil, right? Like you can't really do that. You can't squeeze something and get MCT. So yeah, I'm not a fan of MCT oil. We definitely don't use it. Never bought it. I've never consumed it because why would I? So anyway, yeah, not a big fan of that. Question about organic spring mix from Costco. Is that okay? Yeah, we buy organic vegetables from Costco. We buy organic kale, organic spring mix, organic spinach. I buy organic frozen strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, cherries, blueberries, mango. We buy a lot of organic stuff from Costco, and I think it's terrific. Like I love the fact that Costco is selling organic food. It's just awesome. So, so yeah, I'm a big fan of Costco. We also love Whole Foods. We love Trader Joe's. We love, farmers markets. Anywhere you can get organic food, it's great. Okay, next question here. How much juice do you recommend for prevention? Well, a juice a day is great. If you can drink a juice a day, you're doing super good. So shoot for that, right? Now you can also do a juice fast, which is a great thing to do periodically, where you just drink fresh juices for a whole day or 2 days or 3 days or even a week. You could even do it for 21 days. So that's just up to you. You can kind of get more ambitious each time you do it. But a juice fast is great for cleansing, for hypernourishing your body, giving your digestive system a rest. Like it's just a wonderful thing to do. I did numerous juice fasts while I was trying to heal cancer. So, but in just general life, if you can make a juice a day, that's awesome. That's just a great great habit, great practice. And the more the merrier, right? 2, 3, 4 juices a day, even better, right? But there's no hard and fast rule. And the main thing is focusing on eating the fruits and vegetables, right? It's like what you're eating for your meals is more important than drinking a juice per day. So again, if you're if we were coaching one-on-one, I would say I'm much happier seeing you eat, a giant salad, fresh fruit smoothie, some cooked veggies, right? Oatmeal for breakfast or whatever, and just have a great day of whole food, fruits and vegetables, plant-based meals than you eating like, going through the drive-through, but I had a juice today. You know what I'm saying? Like I had microwave sausage biscuits, drive-through lunch, and and another microwave lasagna for dinner with a juice. Like, yeah, the juice is not helping as much, right? So focus on what you eat for your meals, number one. And then if you can add juices to that, great, perfect. Is decaffeinated green tea okay? I think it's better just to drink regular green tea, right? Organic green tea. The decaffeination process is a little sketchy, and green tea only has about a third to half the caffeine of a cup of coffee. So I wouldn't worry about decaffeinating green tea unless you really have some kind of problem with caffeine. You might want to avoid it in the evening because caffeine can affect your sleep, as does alcohol, as do prescription drugs. And it's very hard to get truly healing restorative sleep when you're on prescription drugs or when you drink a lot of caffeine. The half-life in caffeine in the body, I've heard that it's 18 hours. I might be wrong about that, but I know personally, if I drink and I don't really drink caffeine. Green tea is really the only caffeinated thing I drink. But I don't drink it at night. It's really just a morning thing because it will keep me up. I can tell. Question from Terry, are fruits and vegetables okay to mix for smoothies and juice? Yes. There are some people out there who, in my opinion, are way too strict. Look, it's hard enough to eat healthy as it is, right? Let's not put so many rules on people that they feel like it's impossible. And I feel like the food combining thing, it's too many rules, right? So there are people that you might find online somewhere saying, never mix fruits and vegetables. It's just food rule. Don't worry about that. Okay. Just get fruits and vegetables in your body. It's good. Okay. It's a really good thing. And so if you need to put a little bit of fruit in your vegetable juice to make it palatable, to get it down, go for it, right? If you do carrot, beet, celery, ginger root, turmeric, and you put some green apple in there, awesome, great. You're doing it right. If you make a fruit smoothie and you put veggies in there with the fruit, which I always do, by the way, unless I run out. But every time I make a smoothie with berries, I add spinach and kale or both. And a lot of it, like big handfuls, multiple handfuls of leafy greens into my smoothie with frozen blueberries, raspberries, cherries, whatever the frozen berries we have in the freezer, and banana or dates and water, and blend it up. I mean, it's perfect. It's a whole food smoothie that is rocking with anti-cancer nutrients. So yeah, don't worry about it. Like if you need a little bit of fruit, if you want to put a little bit of fruit on a salad to jazz it up, enjoy it, right? Put some mandarin oranges on your salad or some cherries, like some strawberries. Yeah, go for it. It's good. Question from Alex. What are your thoughts on microwave use? We don't use a microwave. I stopped using a microwave in January 2004. Now, there are people who will say there's nothing wrong with a microwave. Microwave's totally fine. That's cool. I don't like microwaves. Microwaves are a crappy way to cook food. And I'm not that impatient. Okay. Like, I don't mind putting some leftovers in a pan on the stove and warming them up. It takes a few minutes. Oh, big deal. I don't have to have it warmed up in 30 seconds in the microwave and have it be 1,000 degrees. You know, so so that's the first reason. Microwaves are just lousy. And the second reason is they do emit a lot of electromagnetic radiation. I mean, they put out electromagnetic radiation. If you have a Gauss meter, a meter that measures electromagnetic fields, you turn your microwave on and you put that meter within 5 or 10 feet of it, that thing is going to, I mean, you'll see the needle. The needle will be like, wow. So, you know, I don't feel good about that either. Like I feel much better being in a house in the kitchen that's not just constantly running a microwave, you know, putting these potentially harmful electromagnetic fields into my environment. So yeah, we haven't used one in a very, very long time. Again, almost 20 years. I've lived in 2 houses that already had a microwave, but we never used it. It was built in. So yeah, you don't need it. Are foods with lectins bad for cancer? No, lectins are not a problem. I talked about this in the last Q&A, and I talk about it all the time, but there are these influencers out there that have made a reputation for themselves and a lot of money for themselves by creating food fear, by trying to make you afraid of food, right? They're trying to make you afraid of phytates in beans and grains. Well, whoops, joke's on you. Phytates are anti-cancer compounds. Phytic acid, inositol hexaphosphate. Google it. Google IP6 and cancer. Google phytates, phytic acid and cancer. Lectins, another paper tiger boogeyman. Lectins are disabled when you sprout legumes or when you soak them or when you cook them. So they're not hurting you. There's all this food fear, like, oh, they're anti-nutrients and lectins. They're stealing your nutrients. It's such baloney. They're not robbing you of critical nutrients. You're fine. In fact, the longest living people on Earth, this is well documented on multiple continents, eat the most legumes. Legumes are the #1 food associated with longevity. If lectins in legumes were a problem, legumes would not be the #1 food associated with longevity. So Dr. Gundry, who is really responsible for all the lectin fear, even sells a supplement called Lectin Shield. Okay. You don't need it. Okay, friends. You don't need Lectin Shield. Right? And by the way, nobody's eating uncooked beans. I mean, it'd be like eating gravel, right? Beans are really hard. You have to soak them and or sprout them or cook them to even eat them anyway. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just nonsense. Lectins are not a problem for you. Don't be afraid of them. You know, cook your beans, cook your grains, you're fine. Okay. Question, okay, this is from Janet. Where do you buy wheatgrass and how do you eat it? In a smoothie or a salad? Okay, well, you don't eat it in a salad. Don't recommend that. You could put it in a smoothie. Basically, the easiest way to consume wheatgrass is 1, local juice bar, okay? 2, you can get pallets of wheatgrass. Juice bars, some juice bars sell pallets, and get a wheatgrass juicer, make your own juice. That's kind of a lot of work. I've done it. Don't do it now. 3, you can get wheatgrass powder. This is the easiest way to do it. So go to Amazon, type in organic wheatgrass powder, and then you can add that powder to water and drink it. Or you can add that powder to a juice and drink it. Or you can add that powder to a smoothie and mix it in your smoothie. So that's the easiest way to do it. I think that the best way is really just the shot. Add it to water and drink it. Just get it over with. Like, because it might make your juice taste a little funky or your smoothie taste a little funky. Better just to mix it with water, down the hatch. Like, you're not even going to mix it with 8 ounces. You just mix it with a few ounces of water, 2 to 4 ounces, typically. So that's the easiest way to get wheatgrass in your body. And yeah. Question about, someone asking a question, should I have surgery or not surgery? That's a question for a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I don't give medical advice, right? Medical advice is do this treatment or don't do this treatment. Take this drug, don't take this drug, right? So those are just decisions that you have to make on your own. What I'm here to do as a survivor and patient advocate is to help you inform yourself so that you can make the best decision for you, right? To help you not be rushed into a treatment that you don't understand out of fear. And that's what happens to most patients. They're rushed into treatment. They don't really understand the long-term effects of the treatment. They don't understand the short-term effects of the treatment. They're so scared. They just say yes to whatever. And then they wake up after a surgery or whatever, and they're missing body parts, and their quality of life is affected forever, right? And so I don't like seeing patients rushed in. So you've got to take time to read and research and educate yourself before you get rushed into a treatment, unless you're dying, right? If there's a tumor that's cutting off your windpipe, okay, get it out, right? If there's a tumor that's blocked your colon, get it out, right? If there's a life-threatening situation with a tumor, have the surgery right away. But if you're not in a life-threatening situation, you have time to read and research, and you should, so that you can make a confident and informed decision about your treatment. And if you have a doctor that's trying to rush you and scare you, find another doctor, because not all doctors are the same. Okay. Some are bullies and some are very kind and compassionate and caring and patient. And that's the kind of doctor you want to work with. Question from Robin. I'd like to do a 3-day water fast. Any quick instructions? Yeah. So I actually have a water fasting masterclass in the SQ1 program. This is a free bonus. If you buy SQ1, join our private support community. We actually have a private water fasting support group that will be amazing for you. By the way, all of you should water fast. Every single one of you needs to water fast. It needs to be a regular part of your life because it's so incredibly beneficial. I could take up this whole hour talking about water fasting, but I hope you'll just join the SQ1 community, watch my water fasting masterclass in the SQ1 membership site. But the quick answer about a 3-day water fast is basically, it's very simple. You just want to drink between 64 and 120 ounces of water per day. That's half a gallon to a gallon. And you don't really necessarily need to drink a whole gallon, but somewhere between half a gallon and a gallon. You can also drink herbal teas during a water fast. You can even squeeze a little lemon juice in your water. These are not things that will interrupt the benefits of a fast. Okay, so herbal teas like hibiscus tea, peppermint tea, rooibos tea, dandelion root tea. There's a lot of herbal teas out there, and they're fine. And that helps kind of at least give your taste buds something interesting. Okay, I would avoid caffeinated teas, because they can really make you jittery when you haven't eaten anything. Like you might be able to have 1 cup of green tea per day, but again, in the morning, maybe, just depends. You might become very sensitive to caffeine on a water fast. So, but the herbal teas are totally fine. And again, a little lemon juice in there, totally fine. And then do it over a weekend. So start on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay, that way you can rest. You want to chill out on a water fast. You don't want to be working and doing all this busy and all this kind of stuff. Like you just want to be able to rest. Now, the first day of the water fast, you can go to work and do your thing. Most people have gone a whole day without eating, right? Because you were busy. You got up, you get in the car, you get going, and then you work through lunch, didn't have everything, and then dinner rolls around, and then you finally eat. So that first day is usually not too bad because you can stay busy. And then when dinner comes around, you're just like, yeah, okay, well, I'm just not going to eat dinner. I'm going to be hungry, but I'll be okay. And you just drink water or teas and then go to bed. And then the next day, you'll probably feel an energy drop. So you just relax and chill. Day 3 can go either way. Some people still feel pretty tired on day 3, but you might have a surge of energy. Either way, you can eat on the 3rd night, right? So if you start your fast on Friday night, you eat Friday night, 24 hours, that's Saturday night, another 24 hours, that's Sunday night. So now you're 48 hours in. Okay. And then Monday, I think I misspoke earlier, but Monday night, you would eat your next meal. Okay. So that would be a 3 full day water fast, essentially. So Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and then counting them at nighttime. If you can hang in there and not eat that dinner time, then you get the benefit of another full night of rest and fasting. So I always think it's better to break your fast in the morning, because it's like, if you break it at night, it's like, well, you should have, might as well just hung in there and got a whole nother 8 or 12 hours of fasting, while you were unconscious. So that's my quick advice for water fasting. But again, there's a lot more to learn in the water fasting masterclass and in our private fasting support group for Square One members. So I hope you all will join that. Okay. Next question. Tips on maintaining juicing and in the Square One diet, raw foods, while you're traveling for an extended time. It is more difficult, so you really have to plan ahead if you're traveling. So you have to figure, okay, let's say you're going to Houston. I would be Googling juice bars in Houston, right? Then they pop up. Okay, where am I staying? Where's the closest juice bar? Call ahead. Hey, can I get my, I'm going to be there for a week. Can you make me juices for a week? Right? And a lot of juice bars will. They're like, oh yeah, how many juices do you need? Which juices do you want? Yeah, we can make them. You can come pick them up. Right? So that's step one. Find a place that makes your juices. See if you can order them in advance and they have them make them for you. And then you just pick them up. And hopefully you're staying somewhere with a refrigerator, and then you can put them in the fridge and have your juices. Number two is like, okay, you got to go to the grocery store, right? You landed in the city. Where's the grocery store? Go to the grocery and you buy your vegetables, right? You buy your food that you're going to be eating. So again, hopefully you have a place with a kitchenette and a refrigerator, and you can put the vegetables in there. The other option is, again, finding organic restaurants, or finding like a Whole Foods with this awesome salad bar that they have, or a Jason's Deli. If you're in the South, I don't know where all the Jason's Delis are in the US, but Jason's Deli also has a terrific giant salad bar. That's awesome. So, again, you can do it. You just got to plan ahead, right? You just have to be committed to this diet and lifestyle. And if you're committed to it, you will find a way. I've packed I've gone on road trips when I had cancer, and I would pack a giant cooler with all my food, like went away to a weekend retreat or something. And I just brought all my food with me, anyway, you can, if you're traveling by car, you can bring your juicer, right? You throw the juicer in the blender in the trunk and pack a cooler with a bunch of veggies. And then wherever you get to, every place has a grocery store, so you can buy more fruits and vegetables when you get there. So it's not hard. It's doable. Again, don't give up so easy, right? Just be a problem solver. Question from Colleen. If I did conventional treatment, which I did because I just found you, do you think I start with the 90-day protocol? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Look, we've got a lot of people in our community who have done conventional cancer treatment or who are doing conventional cancer treatment. And everything that I recommend is completely safe, and you can do it while you're doing cancer treatment. You can eat fruits and vegetables while you're doing cancer treatment. You can drink fresh juices while you're doing cancer treatment. So there may be a few supplements that might not be a good idea if you're doing chemotherapy or something, but generally speaking, yes, you can exercise, you can forgive people who've hurt you, you can eat fruits and vegetables, you can drink fresh juices. Like, these are do no harm therapies, right? All they do is supply nutrition to your body, right? There's nothing wrong with that. So, this question comes up a lot too. So absolutely, this program is not just for people who don't want to do chemo, right? It's for anyone who wants to prevent chronic diseases like cancer, heart disease, diabetes, for people who want to heal those types of diseases. And again, it doesn't matter whether you do exactly what it doesn't matter if you're doing all the treatments your doctor says you need to do. The only challenge is if you're doing chemotherapy, it can be hard to eat because you lose your appetite, right? And your saliva dries up and your digestive system basically kind of dries up because your mucosal lining of your colon dries up and stuff during chemo. So eating is more difficult. That's a challenge. So you kind of have to more focus on the smoothies as opposed to eating the big salads if you're doing chemotherapy, because it's just hard to get them down. Like when you have no saliva, it's kind of hard to chew up broccoli. So, but the juices are easy. So it's more like focus on the juices and the smoothies if you're going through chemotherapy. Okay, question from Lynn. What do you recommend to get a healthy digestive system? I recommend fruits and vegetables. So the components of a healthy digestive system, right, are you need good gut bacteria. Well, how do you get good gut bacteria? I'm going to back up. Before you need good gut bacteria, you need anti-inflammatory food. Okay, well, that's fruits and vegetables. These are anti-inflammatory foods. And you need good gut bacteria. Well, how do you get that? You get that from eating starch and fiber in fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices, legumes, and whole grains. You get prebiotic starch and fiber, which feeds good bacteria. You also get the good bacteria when you eat raw food. When you eat fruit, it's raw. It's got tons of bacteria in there that's beneficial. And so eating raw food gives you not only the bacteria, probiotic bacteria, but also gives you prebiotic starch and fiber that feeds that good bacteria. And you're eliminating the bad bacteria that thrives on meat and dairy, processed food, and junk food. So it takes a little time but not long. I mean, really within about 2 weeks, you can have a dramatic, this has been well documented, by the way, in human studies, dramatic shift in the bacterial population in your microbiome in just 2 weeks of eating a plant-based diet, eating more fruits and vegetables, potatoes, starches, whole grains, legumes, all the good food. And also decrease in inflammatory markers. And some of you saw this article. There's a study I wrote about that came out in 2015, and I wrote an article about it shortly thereafter, but I reshared it to folks in our community. You can find it on chrisbeatcancer.com. But there was a study called the African Diet Swap, where they proved that they took 2 groups of people, African Americans and rural Africans, and they switched their diets. And what happened was when the African Americans started eating their ancestral diet, the rural Africans' diet, which was predominantly plant-based, they had inflammation go down, cancer markers go down, their colon bacteria changed dramatically in just 2 weeks for the better. And then the Africans who they fed the heavy meat diet of African Americans, and really just any American, they had the opposite happen. Their inflammatory markers went up, their cancer markers went up, and their bacterial population changed to more bad bacteria. So again, in just 2 weeks, you can dramatically improve your gut health. Pretty cool. Here's a popular question. If you have a Vitamix, do you need a juicer? Yes and no. So a blender is not a juicer, right? A juicer extracts the juice. It separates juice from the fiber, from the pulp. Okay, so you're creating an extract. That's what juice is. It's an extract. And it is medicinal because it is concentrated nutrients that go straight into your bloodstream, basically bypass digestion. And it would be impossible to eat that much food, right? So drinking 8 juices in one day plus eating your meals adds so much more nutrition to your body than you would get from just eating the 3 meals, right? So juicing doesn't replace a meal. Juicing is supplemental. It's medicine. It's medicinal food, right? So think about juicing that way. Now, when you use a blender, you're making a smoothie. That's just a meal, okay? That's great. Smoothies are great. It's a great healthy meal, but juicing is always in addition to the meals, right? It's a way to add more nutrition to your body than you get from meals. So that's the difference, right, between juices and smoothies. There isn't one that's better than the other. They serve 2 totally different functions, right? The blender makes meals. The juicer makes an extract, which is medicine. Natural medicine, not to be confused with pharmaceuticals, which technically should never be called medicine because most pharmaceuticals don't cure disease. Okay, next question here. Man, this hour's flown by. We got about 5 minutes. Let's see if I can run through and get a bunch of answers quickly. I know I'm long-winded, but some of these answers, they just take time. You know, I just want to really explain them thoroughly. I hope you appreciate that, because I could give short answers, but then you would think maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. So I feel like it helps if I explain a little more. Okay. So that you can see that I've read and researched and thought about these things and talked about them a lot. Okay. And by the way, I do live Q&As every month for Square One members. So every month we get on a call with Square One members and I answer as many questions as I can in 2 hours. So we spend 2 hours with our members in live Q&A every single month. So that's just another thing you get if you join the Square One program and join our private community. You get access to our support group, which is amazing, private online support group full of just incredible people just like you that will encourage you and love on you and support you and give you ideas and resources that you can use if you need help. I'm just telling you, this is the best part of the program is our private support group. It is worth every penny of the program just to be in our private support group, period. You could delete the whole Square One program and just join our support group. It's that good. Okay. All right. That's my sales pitch for the night. There is a link below the video if you're watching on YouTube. Actually, all of you are watching on YouTube. If you want to get Square One at 50% off right now. And that ends on Monday. Okay, so the next question is, let me pick some I can answer quickly. Can I buy vegan food that's frozen or in a box? You can, but that's typically processed. So let's focus on whole fruits and vegetables and making meals with whole fruits and vegetables instead of the prepackaged stuff. What are your thoughts on organic lunch meat like organic turkey? Not great. It's not the worst thing in the world, but lunch meats are processed meats, and processed meats are group 1 carcinogens. Ham, bacon, salami, hot dogs, sausage, deli meats, they're all classified as group 1 carcinogens. That's the same level of evidence that they contribute to cancer, specifically colon cancer, as cigarettes, as formaldehyde, as asbestos, as alcohol, okay? So yeah, the occasional turkey sandwich is not going to give you cancer, right? But cutting your meat consumption down from 3 times a day, which is the average American, right? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're eating some kind of animal protein and cheese. Let's reduce that if we're talking about prevention. Let's reduce that from 3 times a day to 3 times a week. How about that? That's a good start. So that's an 80% reduction in your animal protein and fat consumption. That's huge. Like if you just did that alone and you got your blood work checked in 90 days, get your blood work done, cut your animal protein consumption down and replace it with whole fruits and vegetables and get your blood work checked in 90 days, you're going to see some big changes in your blood, good ones, right? Typically we'll see cholesterol come down, blood pressure come down. Of course, you don't need blood work for that. You'll see blood glucose improve. You'll see C-reactive protein should come down. That's a marker of inflammation. So yeah, you should see some very, very encouraging and positive improvements in your blood just from doing that. And that's, again, assuming that you're cutting out like all the processed food and fast food and junk food too, right? Okay. Next question, holistic oncologist in the Boston area. I don't know. You just have to Google holistic doctor, integrative oncology Boston, Google naturopath Boston, see what comes up. And then you just go make some appointments and talk to people, right? I found an integrative oncologist first by seeing a naturopath. Okay. So that's how you break in, because a lot of the people like us that are very holistically minded, especially the practitioners, are kind of on the down low. They don't advertise, they don't broadcast it. And so you have to get into their circle, right? And the way into the circle is through like acupuncturists or naturopaths, right? People who are already in that natural health and healing community, and it's not as risky for them because they're not like treating cancer, but they know people who are treating cancer and doing it with a more integrative or holistic or all natural approach sometimes. So that's the way you find a practitioner in any area, if you can't find one on Google. Again, there's just so much scrutiny and persecution, depending on the state, for any doctor that practices outside the conventional box. they're at risk of losing their license. I mean, it's like they're basically forced to give you chemo, right? They're forced to prescribe chemosurgery and radiation, even though, most of these doctors have seen these therapies fail over and over and over, right? The patient ends up dying in some period of time, and they try to make themselves feel better, as if the patient had a better quality of life, because of the treatments, or they lived longer. Well, there's no way to prove they lived longer, and there's no way to prove they had a better quality of life. And it's pretty easy to prove they didn't have a better quality of life, because those treatments are brutal and debilitating, right? Being sick and throwing up and losing your hair and becoming emaciated and not being able to eat, that's not living. Okay. That's living hell. So sorry, little soapbox there, but I'm just telling you, like, that's the reality. Question from Lisa. Do you recommend animal protein for prevention? Okay, so this is the prevention Q&A, and this is a great question to end with. I mentioned this earlier. What we know from the studies on the longest living people on Earth is they're not 100% vegan, and they're not necessarily vegetarian, but they eat a diet that's about 95% plant-based. Well, what does that look like? That's about 3 times a week. Okay, 3 times a week max, or less, maybe once a week. So they have an occasional serving of animal food, or when they eat animal food, it's a very small portion, right? It's just used as more of as a flavoring, right? You think about like little scraps of beef in rice as flavoring versus like a 9-ounce steak with rice, right? Huge difference, right? Think about vegetables and rice with the little slivers of some kind of animal protein in there for flavoring. So you see that a lot in the, in China, right? They use animal food, meat as flavoring, not as a big chunk of the plate. So that's what you want to think about. One is low quantity and high quality. So those are the two things to keep in mind with eating animal food. Low quantity, so 3 times a week or less, less than 5% of calories. High quality, right? Yeah, organic, free range, grass-fed, wild caught, wild killed. That's the highest quality animal food. Let's avoid the factory produced, factory farmed animal food. It doesn't mean you can never have it, right? Doesn't mean you can never have a drive-through cheeseburger ever again. But like, you want to make that a very special occasion, a very special treat, not your daily routine. Okay. So that's the easiest way and most practical, and in my opinion, the most doable approach, right? It's the most sustainable approach for you personally. In terms of animal food, let's just eat less of it. Replace animal food with plant food, and not the fake stuff, right? This is not a sales pitch for fake meat. Okay, fake meat is processed food that's not in the healthy category, right? So we're talking about, instead of eating a dinner that is chicken and rice, right, with some steamed broccoli, why don't you eat a dinner that's sweet potatoes, black beans, collard greens, or spinach with brown, black, or red rice. Slice up some onion, put some peppers in there. Like, just have this delicious veggie bowl, right? Rice, beans, potatoes, corn, onions, mushrooms. Like, that's delicious. It will fill you up. You'll be satisfied. You'll be happy. You'll feel good, right? So it's important that you eat enough to be full, and there's no reason that you need to go hungry. That's the cool thing about eating fruits and vegetables. You can stuff yourself. You don't have to count calories, right? You can eat giant salads till you're full, right? You can eat fresh fruit till you're full. Drink fruit smoothies till you're full. Drink juices. Like, there's no limit on the amount of food you can consume, unlike a lot of these other diets where it's like, oh, you got to count your calories. Oh, you got to just eat this little portion, this little tiny Jenny Craig microwave meal. This is all I get to eat for lunch. I mean, that's misery, right? Weight Watchers. Oh, here's my lunch. It's a Weight Watchers snack bar, and a protein shake that tastes like chalk. Like that's so awful, right? Instead, eat as much fruit as you want. Eat a giant salad with packed full of vegetables and some apple cider vinegar and olive oil dressing. Like, I'm telling you, it's so much better. You will like this so much better, and you'll lose weight. And that's where I'm getting with all this. You can stuff yourself and still lose weight. You don't have to limit your calories because fruits and vegetables are high fiber. They're high in bulk, which means they fill you up, and they're naturally low in calories, right? Meat and dairy are highly concentrated calories, right? Processed foods like bread, baked bread, white bread, right? Cakes and cookies, ice cream, right? Pizza. These are very dense calorie, high calorie foods. And you can pack in a ton of calories with processed cooked food before you know it, especially oils, but which are abundant in processed foods. So anyway, olive oil is still wonderful. It's great to put on the salad with vinegar. Oil and vinegar dressing is just an easy vinaigrette to make any salad taste good. So anyway, that's the good news. You don't have to be hungry. Eat as much as you want. You will still lose weight naturally and have tons of energy and feel good and be nourishing your body in a way that you never have before. Like, this is what you can do with fruits and vegetables and fresh juices and fruit smoothies. You can do this for yourself. I'm not selling you fruit. I'm not selling you juices. I'm not selling you smoothies. Like I'm not selling you the food, right? I'm not selling you the supplements. You can do this for yourself, right? I'm just showing you the way as a coach, as a survivor, as a patient advocate. So anyway, this has been really fun. Great questions. Hope it's been helpful. Last call here, the SQ1 program. We just finished this 10-day free screening. You can own the program forever. You can buy it right now and have access to it and ownership of this program forever for 50% off the normal price through Monday. And then you also get access to our private support community forever, to my live Q&A calls that I do every month for our members, to our water fasting masterclass, our water fasting support community. So many amazing resources. And here's the awesomest thing ever. We're doing a healing journey jumpstart that starts next week. We'll send you an email about it. But for new SQ1 members, we're doing a 10-day with my friends at Healing Strong, which is a holistic cancer support group. 10 days, 2 coaching calls a day for 10 days. It's called the Healing Journey Jumpstart. And you've got to plug into this. It is amazing. There's cancer survivors and thrivers and incredible people that will be teaching and coaching you for 10 days, twice a day. It's free. It's absolutely free for new SQ1 members. Okay. So no one else gets to come. It's only for people joining SQ1 because we want you to change your life and we want to help you do it. And you need encouragement and support and resources. You need to get your questions answered. So the Healing Journey Jumpstart will start in about a week. I forget the exact day. I apologize. I think it's on March 8th. So yeah, that is in less than a week. Or no, actually, it might be the week after. But anyway, we'll send you an email. Send an email once you join the SQ1 program and about the Healing Journey Jumpstart, because we want to make sure you don't miss it because it's for you, right? This is to help you change your life. All right. So that's it. Thank you again. It's been awesome hanging out. Again, great questions. God bless you. I hope you have a great night. And I'll see you real soon, hopefully on the inside of the SQ1 program in our private membership community. Thanks for tuning in and have a great one. See you.